Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding, learn, and turn in the great strategy games. Today, back into our PBEM Bonsai Challenge. It is now June 7th, 1942, into June of 42, meaning the Allies continue to gain strength. The Allies, that's us. We're gaining strength. We have now popped up, and you'll see here, the U.S. Carrier Operations Advancement up to a 1943. The UK's Amphib is up to a 42. That lessens the chance their units will be damaged upon landing. And we actually do have some landing ships, and we got to figure out what to do with these Brit troops. I've taken them a trip around the world at this point, trying to figure out exactly where we want to put them in, because wherever they go in, they're going to get interdicted in those ports. We've got 30 strength points. We've got one unit with 20, another unit with 10, a division, and a small corps is 20, a division is 10. I'd like to break that small corps up so we could put them into three different major locations. If nothing else, it will cause the Japanese player to have to interdict three different ports. Now, I'd love to get into a national supply source, but those are hard to come by after he's taken them because they get damaged. And once the production goes under 10, they're not considered a natural or national supply source, I should say. Anyway, we'll get to all that as we go on here. Amphib, like as I said, carrier operations popped up. The U.S. added 30 transport. That is just huge. Adding 30 transports to the availability pool. Like I say, really June is the first month of the war where you can start to feel a little more offensive and not just completely turtle shelling. Canada added 20 landing ships to the UK's supply. That's great. 32nd group and China was overrun. We've got to go look at China. We've now lost Changsha. You're going to against a good Japanese player, then it's just kind of a matter of, did you hold them long enough and can you get enough help uh, in other places, or at least enough distractions in other places to keep him from completely overrunning China. And once, if an Axis player overruns China, that gives them a huge advantage because they can start moving those forces other places. Axis Paradrop mission. Now, we haven't seen that before. You see it very seldom in this game, but he actually landed in Hong Kong. Very smart move, actually, and we'll go look at that. We do have a fleet with no supplies, but it's now sitting on the U.S. West Coast. It'll be fine. We were lacking Merch Marines because, of course, we were. He has absolutely devastated our Merch Marine fleet. You can see he's doing more of it. One, two. So we lost three so far. Oh, wrong. We lost 11 total. He got 8 of them out here in the South Pacific convoy lane with 9 groups. That's his big carrier squadron. The Akagi in the lead, the flagship. But yeah, he took out 8 more Merchant Marines there. I guess we're going to have to build some. I've never been in this situation where we just, our Merchant Marine fleet is completely ravaged. Usually the Brits have enough that I've never had to ever build Merch Marines before. But I think we're getting to the point we're going to have to. Although, I mean, we don't have to ship to India anymore. There's a lot fewer ports we have to ship to. It's really all trying to get it to the UK and Australia out of the US. We'll look at it. Okay, let's go to the combat log last time and see what happened. Not a whole lot, but there were some interesting developments, certainly. You see the partisan activities happening. Now, this is double raindrops out here. When it's double raindrops, you cannot do a landing. So just something to always keep in mind when you play the game. Ground strike. Okay, so he's starting to ground strike Canberra, and as you can see, he's now moved 8 strength forces up here, 8 combat value forces up here. We can't lose Canberra. If we lose Canberra, all is lost, no matter what else we hold in Australia, because he can interdict the ports. This is our only natural or national. I keep saying natural. National supply source. National supply source is in Canberra. We got to do whatever we can to hold it. Now I'm going to split this unit, I think, and put another 10 in here, so that should, bump him up yet again. But the U.S. is only a 1941 assault. We're close to a 42, but we're not there yet. And, we've got more forces to come in here. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of air forces in the area to try to interdict those, I guess dockings you'd call them, because we're going to be going into ports. They're not landings. We could try to sneak around him or do something crazy like that, but ultimately we have to just hold Canberra. That's the whole ball game at this point. Land combat. Okay, he did attack here. Now we had that unit that was sitting here that retreated. Okay. Land combat in China. He gave us a spanking there, three, and we retreated. Land combat up here. This was that headquarters that I was kind of. No, that's not true. That was the Mountain Corps that I was worried about. Luckily, they didn't take any losses and they just retreated. We did then have a unit overrun out here. Now, you remember, we're trying to hold Canton. I tried to build a little fence here. This is really just a distraction. I mean, I don't think that we can hold this if he wants to take it. But, it bring some forces down here that maybe otherwise would be up here. So that unit was over. Yeah, that unit was overrun. Land combat, he tried to hit here. He gave us two damage, but we held. Excellent. Then we retreated here again. Again, we took no losses. This is a mountain core in the hills, but he did drive us back. That's okay. I mean, we'd rather, as long as we're being driven back into better supply, that's probably a good thing. Here's the paradrop into Hong Kong. Very smart for him because we were going to try to land in Hong Kong if we could. That is now seemingly off the table. Current turn. Partisans, 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 partisans. All right, and here's all the convoy attacks. We already looked at these. The biggie where we lost 8 was right here. He did scoot back. Now, I had mentioned that last time. I'm not sure why he wasn't on this hex. Well, now he is. And you can see that caused us, we were getting oil through to the UK. That seemingly has come to an end. Here he blocks to the UK and he blocks up into Australia. Um, Now that we've lost Brisbane, we can't use this convoy into Australia. So this is the only one we've got because he has Melbourne as well, and so he's blocking off everything from that hex. If you play the Axis, really remember that hex right there because it'll block all Merch Marines into Australia and over to the UK. Losses since the last report: the US lost 10. Okay, that was that unit that we plopped down there. China lost 71. Ow. Japanese 12-1 and 3. Okay. The Aussies lost 2. All right. All in all, about what you would expect. Um, okay. Now what? He says. Now what? Well, let's go look at our warnings. We've got this unit that is now out, completely out of supply. Well, the only place we really can take it is through to the west coast. So let's do that. Off you go with those British ships. That's the Ramillies. It's the 2 ships that we've gotten since we started the game. They were at the UK African bases. We put them through. Well, we're bringing them down here to go south of Australia. Then I said, you know what? Let's just put them through the Whirly gig now that he's got all this air power here. So we did. They popped out. We popped them right back in. Then these are just the partisan activities. Okay. Reports, casualties. Let's look over the big casualty list. Again, the U.S. hasn't really taken hardly any casualties, and really the U.K. hasn't, except for the Merch Marines. Now, I think the U.K. starts with like 110 Merch Marines. He's destroyed 92 of them. Really just devastated our Merch Marine fleet. We're going to have to build some. Maybe we'll do that in Canada if we can. Seems like a good job for the Canadians. China's now taking quite a beating, starting to really take a beating. India's already surrendered, obviously. Australia, they've lost some points, but we're holding on, barely. The Japanese, against a mediocre to bad Japanese player, you'd say this is terrible. Against a really good one, this is probably about what you should expect. Units on the map. Oh, let's actually look at forces. You can see the US now up to 203. Look at that. 1287, 236, 157. We're down to 30 Merch Marines for the US and 13 for the UK. Now, luckily, I think we've gotten enough oil into the UK to last them hell, I don't know, maybe not till the end of the war, but for a very long time. Um, I mean, obviously he's got a tremendous advantage. 800, I mean, we're probably down, if you think the average division, well, the average division is 10, we're probably down about 30 to 40 divisions overall on the map, and some of those are like Canada, that doesn't really count. Mongolia, Soviet Union doesn't really matter. It's really China, 446, 203, UK's only got 40. So the U.S. just continues to have to, shoulder that load, build as much as we can. Now, I was wanting to build air assets because, I mean, we need them, but ultimately we've got to get more on the ground. Sunk ships, we're still sitting fine here. I know that, some people have mentioned in the comments, well, you should probably be more aggressive with your naval forces. I'll just say it again, and I know I've said it a few times. Against a really good Japanese player, I just think you're throwing them straight down the drain if you have them out in the middle of 1942. Now, you could cause him some headaches. You could run around. You could try to interdict things. You could, try to pick off a ship here or there. But ultimately, you're going to lose those ships. And so, the U.S. starts so far behind on the advancements, you've got to let them advance up. Now, our carriers are up to 43, but we only have six of them, I believe. The Japanese, I think at this point in the game, have at least 11, but I think they have 13, if not more. But I know it's at least 11 that they have because he can fill out two full task forces with six carriers. So it's probably, well, 12 at least, right? So, I mean, yeah, could we take those carriers out and try and hope that, he gets some carriers isolated somewhere, one or two of them? I mean, we could, and maybe get lucky. We could also get really unlucky and lose our entire carrier force, and then you just may as well restart the game. Okay, there's my big speech. War panel. Okay, we've got 14 for the UK. They actually just built a comment. The US actually broke some Japanese codes last time, but you can see the victory points. 51 for the US, 64 for the UK. The UK's got a long ways to go. We'll have to take back India, completely hold Australia, get back up into Leh and Port Moresby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on, but there's a lot to be done. We will eventually overrun a lot of his places. It's just a matter of whether it's too late. You really got to start that process in early 43 when you get all of your U.S. carriers start to come in, and you got to do it right. If you mess up at all, you're not going to win the game. UK, okay, we're advancing. UK's almost to 43 on the assault troops. That's a good thing. Carrier operations will be up to a 42 very soon, which will help come 1944 when the Brits get all their carriers. US 62 days away still into going to a 1942 assault. Carrier operations already to 43, and we're going to start pushing for a 44. Soviet Union, China, okay. Um, Chinese almost there to get to a 1940 assault. That would be very helpful. We need that. Convoys, I mean, at this point, the UK has 33 oil, 116 production. I just think you have to take the convoy off. I guess we weren't even trying to get into Australia. That's how bad it got. We're just going to have to take the convoys off for now. Hopefully that oil holds. Now, you'd love to be pumping production into the UK to max out their manpower and logistics, but at this point, I mean, we've got 35 Merch Marines left. We just can't throw them away because eventually, when the game starts to turn, you need them. You need them. Let's go to the build queue. All right. UK has enough to build with 105 in manpower. It's got enough to build 10 more divisions. Logistics, it would have enough to build 12 more. So this, will be transports or landing ships that will build with the other two. But until then, I mean, we're just building division after division for the UK. They now have 40 in transports. They have a few more coming. I think we've built up to a 60. We can actually look at the deploy really quickly. Actually, we have one more coming. Okay, so the UK 50, as I've said, at a minimum, I like them to have 60, but we may, in this game, just the way it's playing out, we may have to be satisfied with 50 transports for the UK. And that's assuming none get destroyed with various landings we may try to do. Um, US at this point, let's go to their build. So we built with the UK. We could actually go back now and we will do a landing ship, or we could see what's the deal with Merch Marines. Merch Marines take 10 manpower, 10 shipping. Now, it doesn't take logistics, but it does take manpower, and it takes 100 production. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough road to build any of those. They take a long time to build too, 6 months. But we'll probably have to build one just in case we do get back into India. I mean, we'll probably need Merch Marines in there into there, so we'll deal with that when it comes. Landing ships. Let's go ahead and build 10 more, and now the UK will pretty much just be building nine more infantry units or infantry divisions. U.S. up to 179. Okay. We've got now 80 transports, which is excellent. That's exactly what we need. We've got 80 landing ships. If we look at the deployment screen for the U.S., we've got 10 and 10. 20 and 10, 20 and 20, 20 and 30. Whoops. There's a landing ship I see down there. 30 and 30, 30 and 40 yet to come. So we've got 30 landing ships and 40 transports yet to come. That would give us 120 on the transports. That may be enough. That may be where we have to stop and really start focusing on air power instead of building more transports. With 120 transports, you're talking about 4 large corps that you can move, or obviously 12 divisions. Now, that's assuming, again, none get destroyed, but I think that may have to do it. And we'd be up to 110 landing ships. I mean, you're going to have to build more later, but they're only, 25 points. So, we can be building as those go along. So we've already built the UK. Hell, while we're here, let's just do the building now. 179 for the US. We could do an infantry corps small, which would be a 144. You don't have to worry about the manpower and the logistics. The Americans are going to have plenty of both. Um, all right, let's build one of those. We'll have 35 left in the stockpile. We could do another landing ship. Sure, let's do it. Now down to 10 again on the stockpile. 395, but we're not going to be sending anything out, and the upkeep should start to taper off at some point. And then you get to a point in late 42 where you could build an air unit every turn. That's the strength of the U.S., obviously, is the production. Soviet Union, 22, 25 in the stockpile. They need 234. Doesn't matter. 156 for the Chinese. Now, the Chinese were putting most of it into upkeep. I actually could back that off one um, or two because, I mean, shoot, it'd be great to get another one on the map, but we may not have 2 months actually. So let's, I'm going to bump that right back up. We need them repairing. The Australians no longer have any production coming out. So as their units get hurt and we don't have any Merch Marines coming in, yeah. I think it's the Canadians that will be building the Merch Marines. We'll wait till they get up to 100. There'll be a few more turns. We'll have them build Merch Marines. The Commies, can they build something? I don't think. Not quite yet. They need 180. Maybe. Well, they get 6 per turn at this point because well, that's not true. Well, it is true. 13 production, 7 upkeep, so they're getting a +6. It'll take them like 3 more turns before they could build a new unit. All right, let's go out to the map. Nothing to do in India, obviously. We haven't talked about deployment yet. Let's go see what we could deploy. Now, the UK has a comment that does us no good, really, not one, and there's really no place to put it that you know, that we need to know more information about. Next turn, they'll get another division. Then they get another one in a couple of turns after that. Then, we start getting them like every other turn as we've been building them here. As you can see, I was talking about the Brits when they get their carriers. March of 44, they get a couple, and then it's really November of 44. Well, considering the game ends in, kind of mid 45, the fall of 1945, you don't get a whole lot of time to play around with these suckers. But I mean, look at this is the entire British Navy shows up in November of 1944. Happy Thanksgiving. Um, all right, U.S. What do we got? Infantry Corps Small and a bunch of Comet. Next time we get the Wasp. That is actually our sixth carrier, I believe. We can go look, but let's go put this Infantry Corps Small down somewhere. Let's see. Let's see where we want it. We'll put it in Astoria. That's the one port that wasn't covered. All right, in you go. We've got these three comments, but again, I think the comments are better for when you're going to attack to kind of, or you're going to land somewhere or do an invasion. That's just always my think on it. Let's get down here. What? Whoa, it's raining all over the Pacific. Oh, we do have six carriers, but that includes the Hermes, right? So we got the one British carrier. We have five American carriers. Speaking of, let's look at the specialty points. The Brits will get a new specialty in 2 turns. The U.S. now building at 19 per turn. So, yeah, what is that? In about 4 turns, we'll get a new specialty for the U.S. Russia doesn't matter. China actually gets a specialty next turn. That'll be good because we'll take one of those infantry units, make it elite, and set it on top of a supply source. Australians, okay. Canadians, doesn't matter. Commies, don't matter. They don't matter. Well, they matter, but they don't matter for specialty points. Soviet Union, everything's in reserve. Chinese get a new supply truck June 13th. That can come in very handy if you get isolated. The Australians have something to put on the map. We'll go look at Australia here in just a moment. And now we've deployed everything. All right, so let's figure out what the hell we want to move. This air superiority unit, I mean, we've got, 6 carriers sitting here. Seems like the kind of unit that I probably wouldn't normally move, but in this game we probably have to. We've got plenty of air support here. We will eventually build more too. Um, and get him out here. Now, you don't want to get in a situation where he can just come and bomb at will, but we're pretty good at Pearl Harbor, so I'll probably move this off. Now, again, if we look with the US, we've got now 80 transports. We're using 40 of them, but we can really start moving some things around the map, and we've got some real decisions to make. I think the first thing actually we'll do is move the Brits. We've got 30 strength points combined out here 20 on one transport. It's this one. It's the 10th Corps. And then we've got the 11th East Africa Division. Now, as I said, I've kind of moved these all over the place. Now, there's a few places that are uncovered here. Now, my original idea was to get up here and help in Canton. I'm not sure we can do anything there. We could also land behind him in Haiku, and I will not start doing poetry, so don't worry about that. But Haiku is undefended. It's a level 4 port. We could come here, try to blast this out, and get the Brits up through here and helping. At least they would be in some kind of supply. Now you can see double raindrops, though. We're not going to be able to land there while there are double raindrops. You also see over here, Saigon. It's monsoon season, evidently. But if we move over here, and I think this is what we're going to do kind of out in the middle here. He does not have air units really out here that could find us, I don't believe. I mean, I don't see any. Now, I'm not saying he definitely doesn't, but I don't see any. How about that? We want to make sure we're more than 10 away from this air unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so if we're up here, I think we're fine, or here, here. You don't want to be in the convoy lane either. I think if we come in about here, this gives us the maximum number of choices because now next turn we could land here potentially. We could land here potentially. We could land here or here, Saigon. Even Bangkok is within reach. We could come down to Singapore potentially if we wanted to. We've got maximum choices from right here. So I'm going to move these Brit troops up. Let's just hope he doesn't find them. I mean, that would be such an absolute disaster. But if we move him right up here, I think we should be safe. Let's hope. Let's hope. We'll put that one there. So they're right next to each other. And next turn, we will try out here somewhere. I don't know where yet, but we're going to try out here somewhere. Okay, now we got to go down to Australia. All right, so off to Australia we go, and it's a roll of the dice, literally, since this really is a board game. We have got to get this air unit, not that air unit, this air unit, U.S. 3rd Bomber Group, onto the mainland here. Uh, you know, we could move this over to Newcastle. Oh, that's probably the better idea. I don't want to use up operation points, and I don't want to use all their oil. They're not going to get any more oil in. I could also move him to Canberra. Um, but as he is, he's probably fine here. I'll go into Newcastle this turn, and then next time, fly him over to Canberra. I think that's the best thing to do. Like I said, I don't want to use the oil. Well, what's his range? It's a 10. What's their range? It's also a 10. So they're going to cover everything here. I am going to move him over to Canberra then, and I'm going to take this unit and try to bring it into Sydney. I will put it on stealth mode. I don't think that makes a damn bit of difference, but it makes me feel a little better. Let's try to get him in there. That's clinch time right there. Okay, so he's into Sydney. Let's disembark. Fantastic. Look, you can go in there and he could completely destroy that entire bomber group. And if that would have happened, we'd be in bad shape. All right, we've got him on full support. Let's do it on units. I don't want him out here tangling with the carriers. This is a pretty okay. I mean, it's close support 1940. Let's not get carried away. It's not that good of an air unit, but it's about as good as we've got right now. So he's in. He's into Sydney. That hopefully will cut down a little bit on the air superiority he has here. A little bit. Again, let's not get carried away. It's not going to change the air war out here that much, but it may protect our forces a little bit. All right, we've got two more American forces to get on the Australian coast. Let's give it a shot. All right, so we've got, what do we have here? We have the 37th Division and the 40th Division. Okay, now one of these divisions, I'm going to try to land over here and cut his supply and overrun an air unit if I can. Um, well, let's give it a shot. We've got plenty of landing ships. Now I could try to land here, or I could try to land here. I think I'd like to land right here. I'm not sure if I can even move up to that after if these guys don't just get completely blown away. Let's give it a shot. Not found. All right, where can we can only land on the beach. He's got 2 movement points left. He can't get all the way up there. Now, I was hoping he could come overrun this air unit, um, but he just didn't have enough. Shoot, I wonder if I would have come in there if that would have worked. Well, be that as it may, we're going to get back here and give him a little bit of a fright, I hope. I'm actually going to go all the way back over here. Now, that should cut all of his rail out to these troops. Um, that's the plan anyway. And now he's going to have to scramble around where to move air assets to get him out of our way, because now we could come around here and try to overrun some of these air assets. But we're now onto the rail. Ooh, that's exciting. That's very helpful because that could really stop his attack here. Now this guy is completely out of supply. Um, and so he's probably been sacrificed. But what I'm trying to do is buy myself 2 or 3 turns where these guys are out of supply and they've got to turn around, come back here, or he's got to try to, blast us out here. And when he does, try to do that, these guys are out on their own now. They have no supply that can get through here. We can't see his supply situation, but he doesn't have a supply source other than Melbourne. He does have Adelaide, which will come out here, but by the time it gets across this river and over the mountains and through the woods, to grandmother's house we go, he is not going to have supply out here. uh, that's helpful. That's helpful. All right, let's get off the logistics. We got one more division to roll the dice. Now, where's he going to come in? It's a great question. I think I'm going to bring him into Newcastle. All right, so here we go. One more to go. I don't know. It's been, Daddy Dude's new pair of shoes, throwing those dice out there on the table. I feel like I'm in Vegas trying to land these troops. Let's put him on stealth mode. Let's see if it works. I want to bring him into Newcastle and then put him on the rail right there to try to block this. Now, we could also absorb that into that, so then we're even stronger in Newcastle, and then put him, there or there, either one. It's a good question. I'll have to think about it for a minute. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay, thank goodness. All right. Now that could have gone much differently, those three landings. I've had them where you lose all of your transports, you lose the full bomber group, you lose an infantry here or there. But all in all, that turned out as well as we could have hoped anyway. Now this unit, he's not dug in. He is dug in. What I'm thinking about doing, Now see, I don't want him to come out and around here. We really need another unit. We need one. Oh, we've got that Australian unit. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go there. All right, that makes that a lot stronger. Let's disembark there in Newcastle. Now, I may eventually switch these, but he was already dug in a little bit. And now, am I going to be able to put him there? No, I think I have to put him there. Well, let's go to the deployment. Let's go to the Australian deployment. Deploy. Yeah, it's got to be around Canberra. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Before we do that, let's look at these forces one more time. We've got a 9 of 10, we've got a 23 of 30. All right, so we've got what we've got there. You're not moving him. He's already dug into a level 1. Now, he's probably going to get smoked here, but now he's got to, the Axis player has to worry about us landing back here and cutting his supply. We'll see how effective that was. This is now 27 of 30. Now, it's only a 1939 assault. This is a 39 anti-tank. It's 16 of 20. We could actually move him up here and combine those. He's a 41 anti-tank though. He's a 39. You don't want to really combine backwards. If I put him in there, this is going to become a 39 anti-tank. You can't just automatically upgrade things by combining them together. Now, one thing I do know I'm going to do is split right here. All the U.S. troops are 41 assault, and I'm going to put that right in there, and now we've got a 10. That's good stuff. This Australian unit, hmm, this one I want to move right up here, I think. 41 anti-tank. He's not dug in, so we're not going to be losing anything there. Let's move that up there, and let's move this American unit here. Ooh. We just got to make sure Sydney doesn't get isolated somehow. We will be bringing more American units through the whirligig for next time, if we can land them. If we can land them. Hmm. 20. See, I'm worried about him getting blasted back. I guess maybe he would only retreat, though, into one of these two. I guess I'll leave that the same this time. My worry, though, is if he gets around us here, that somehow he can get on this rail. Because if he gets on this rail with the strong unit, we're in trouble. But we have, like I said, we've now cut off his supply here. So these guys are going to start losing effectiveness very quickly, or they should. Is it going to make a huge difference? Well, I don't know. We'll find out. Um, All right, we're going to roll with that. Okay, now then, let's go over to the United States Western Coast. We're not going to do anything here. We've got 40 transports that we can use this time. We do have Marines here. Now, they're only at a 13 of 15. They're close to being total strength, but not quite. We've got this 2020 that's sitting here. Now, one thing I was also thinking about doing is coming straight across here. I think we'll definitely put this on a transport. So let's just go ahead and do it. And then we can kind of get a feel. Let's take all that off. There we go. Now we can get a feel. How far could we come out this way? So this would be one turn. This would be approximately two turns. Now I'm not thinking about I'm not thinking about possibly landing in Japan. Not yet. What I'm thinking about is a follow-up to this British landing with American forces, which could be really something. Now, next turn, when we drop off these guys, though, we're going to have. Actually, I think we probably best put this first one into Australia. But then I think after that, um, we could follow that British landing up, or at least try to. I think we will at that point have gotten as much into Australia as we could or should. Uh, we could also think about a landing in New Zealand or up in Papua New Guinea. Just something else to think about. But let's just put him through, and we'll determine what to do with him next time. We've got a division that we can move up. We now have still 20 transports. That's a 10 of 10. This one just got set down in Astoria. We could bring more bombers here. Again, this is exactly like the other force. 40 close support. That's not great. How close are we on our advancements for close support? Wow. That's Oh, we already are at 42 for close support, so they just haven't upgraded yet. Probably because they're back at the US. Um, yeah, that would be very helpful because a 40, right now it's sitting at a 1940. By 42, he gets another anti-air, another defense, and another air combat. That would take him up to a 6 in air combat. Yeah, we'll start upgrading those. Come on, guys. What about our this unit? Because we could take one of those, put it out here, and take our air superiority group over there. Um, he's a 41 interceptor. That's not great, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. We'll just take a turn. So let's get off everybody, and then we'll bring one of those bombing groups out here because you don't want to leave Pearl Harbor completely without air. Now I know we've got a lot of carriers sitting here, but let's take that off. Let's get him going, and we'll go through to Australia with him. All right, so now if we look at the transport situation, UK could put another 10 on transports, but I don't think we dare leave the East African bases completely unguarded. We're using 80 of 80 for the US. We did use a landing ship this time to get behind him on the supply. Okay, so we've pretty much moved out whatever we can. This tactical bombing group, I'll probably put out at Pearl Harbor. We have this strategic group, but honestly, we're not going to be doing much strategic bombing in the near future. Um, so he'll be sitting there for a while. I'm really happy with the way this turned out so far. We'll see. I mean, there are a few places we're vulnerable, but this cutting of supply, he's going to have to turn around here and try to do something with this. And this guy, again, I mean, these guys are going to be our heroes. I'm going to try to jump over here and cut this rail if I can, try to overrun air units. I mean, he's going to have to scramble a lot of things around this time. He's going to have to use operation points not to bomb us, but rather to get the hell out of the way. And I think these guys now, we've got them in a little bit of a bind, at least momentarily. But we will be bringing another small core over here as we continue to build these U.S. assets in here. With the advancements with U.S., this is huge that we get to a 1942 with all of our U.S. troops. As you can see, a 42 is going to add to the guns. So, this is mid-range right here. Um, Come on, guys. Let's do it. All right, let's go up to China. This situation is getting a little fraught with danger, I would say. Let's look at the logistics, as you always really want to do up here in China. Let's move him back. His effectiveness is at 26%. Oh, as you can see, he can really fly around here. Um, for now, gosh, I wanted to get out here on this rail. I think that would be very important because ultimately, if you look at his supply situation, he's got to be getting most of this out here from Cyan. It's got to be coming through this way. But I really don't have a good choice here. Um, let's move him there and move him there for this turn. Is that true? Let's back that off again. He can get all the way around here into a 9 situation if we wanted him to, because he can move down that road. He could also move down the road this way and eventually threaten to come around here. Um, Tell you what, I'm going to put him up on the road there for now. So he's on the road. He can move fast. He's in a 7 supply situation now. Headquarters at a 6. We're blocking there. This guy's blocking there. We could potentially try to get out here and move around, but I'm not sure how productive that would actually be. We've got this 15 to 30 trying to hold on. We've got a 20 of 20, the cavalry corps here. I'm actually going to move him up on the line. He's fairly strong. That's cavalry on cavalry. I'll then move this unit back around here. So we've got Cheng Tu. Now he's only a 17 to 30, but hopefully he can build a little bit. The headquarters, I'm going to move them back across the river. Actually, I can move one here, right? And then I can move another one here. You want to be moving this way because if we have to get the hell out of here, up to Lan Chao, you want them to not be trapped. As a matter of fact, eventually I may move one of these, move them back around the backside here, like into this hex and into this hex, something like that. You just want to make sure they're within 5 of these guys. Now, who are our strong guys out here? We've got a 4 of 5 and a 5 of 5 protecting Chongqing. Very important. We've got these guys protecting the river, but you can see his big strong unit is there. This unit's a 3 of 5. I like that. He's up to 20 of 30. He's only 17 of 30. Um, right. So let's move him here. Let's move him into Chongqing. So we've dropped back a little bit. I want to hold as long as I can on this river. Now, if he blasts us out right here, we start to get in a little bit of a problem. That's only a 19 of 30. Gosh, that's a 15, 15. Ay, ay, ay. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. That's 41 assault, 41 assault. These guys are double. That's only a 39 assault, but they're representing a 3. Let's take the logistics off really quickly. Um, Okay, I mean, we're just going to have to roll with this. Now, his strong, really strong unit's coming right here. He's going to try to split us in half, I would assume. That's an 18 of 30. His supply situation's got to be a little dicey up in here, I would imagine. He does have rail to here, and he's got rail to here, but you start to get quite a ways away out here at some point. Yeah, it's a 1 to 2. It's actually 2 to 1. It's not bad. That's a 1 to 2. All right, we're behind rivers. I think that's about as good as we can get it. Kuayang, we could move this up here to help with this defense. I mean, eventually we're going to get overrun from the west over here. As you can see, he's come into Lido. He's now setting up air. He's going to come out, all out for Kunming, and I don't really think we can hold. Um, Let's get back behind the river there. We'll keep these guys here for this turn anyway. This is a very weak unit. Uh, he's in a 1.3 defensive position. Yeah, I'm gonna leave these guys as is this turn. This is probably, I don't think we can hold right here. That 8 is probably going to take him out. He's down to a 16 of 30. He's on hold. We're trying to hold. Uh, we're going to block here. We'll keep the headquarters there. We got to make sure this unit doesn't get surrounded, though. Um, let's back him off to, that's a 6. All right, let's back him off to this town. And then this unit, let's get down below the river. Now we're getting great supply out of Canton. That's probably going to go away. All right, I think that's about as good as we can do it this time. We're just trying to hold on here. I'm hoping when we land the Brits, and hopefully this double rain goes away, or otherwise they're going to have to sit here for a turn. But when we land the Brits, I'm really hoping that'll take a little of the pressure off. Now, in the first game, I tried against Bonsai. I tried to land first of all in the Philippines. That went fairly well, and we had this weird standoff where he brought his carriers over here. We eventually got interdicted. It went back and forth, but eventually we got starved out. This time, I think landing here, especially if we can get into Bangkok and Saigon, which is really where I want to go, if we can. I'm thinking if we can get in there. Now, see, he's got Rangoon uncovered. If that continues, I'm going to split that British force. I'll try to bring the 20 in here and get him up here and maybe over to Rangoon as fast as we can. Or we've got a new British unit coming in next time that I'm hoping, as a matter of fact, I'm hoping we can put down here, but we couldn't get him on a transport. That would be 2 turns. We could take this headquarters, put it on a transport. Is that true? Do we get that next turn? We do. Um, hmm. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. We're gonna put him on stealth mode. Okay. Off he goes. I'm gonna put him up this way to begin with. Um, how far away out of Rangoon would we be? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We would be just in range of Rangoon from here. All right. I'm going to do it. The East African bases are uncovered, but we do get that new division next time. But I'm going to try to bring the Brits in here, here, potentially here. Um, we'll see. Do they have enough landing craft to even do all that? If not, I'll just bring the Brits through the whirligig. Out here they should be fairly safe. He says hopefully. Deploy. We don't get another landing ship until July 11th. Yeah, so this guy would not be able to land unless we brought both of these into the same port, but we're not going to do that. So he is going to have to go out and around then and land at one of these other places. Hmm. Okay, well, that's fine. It is what it is. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. This game is really, really good. It's right on the knife's edge here. I know there have been some complaints about, the logistics of the Japanese and what they're able to do, which is fully understandable. What all I'll say is, the Japanese were at a severe disadvantage logistically, and for this game to even be fun to play as both sides, they have to be given some buffs to their logistics. Otherwise, I mean, you could almost say that for any Pacific War game. Is it too much in this game? I don't know. I mean, could the Japanese historically had supported an invasion of Burma, India, Australia, and New Zealand at the same time? Probably not. Probably not. But it makes it for a much better board game that they can. So anyway, Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.